Alright, so the NFL Week 8 is upon us. I skipped last week's predictions because something came up, just wasn't, in the right mood. But it is midnight. I work in 8 hours. So here's my predictions. Before we get started, tell me down below what is your predictions of the Week 8 football games. Didn't get to do Thursday night, didn't get a short in there, but I did predict the Vikings to win, so I was wrong on that. But now we're going to get started. Here we go. And our first game we're going to talk about is the Eagles at the Bengals. This is a game that's very interesting to me because the Bengals, I don't feel, are such a great team this year. I don't think that they're so good. I think they're really hit or miss. But at the same time, they've been having a couple of good weeks. Joe Burrow is playing like a top 5 quarterback, so I don't really know how that can go. Eagles, same kind of way. Like, they've had bad weeks. They don't look as great of a football team. So these are teams that, in the past, have been regarded as some of the best football teams. But now, right here, right currently, they're kind of hard teams to judge halfway through the season or almost halfway through the season. We don't really know how good they're going to be. So this could be a toss-up for any teams, but my prediction will be that the Eagles will win just because they're coming off a phenomenal week last week. Saquon Barkley went off. I do think the Eagles are going to escape with the win here. We got the Ravens at the Browns. The Browns lost Deshaun Watson all season, and for the only time, I will be super happy that a quarterback got injured for the season because I hate Deshaun Watson. He's a pedophile. Just don't like him at all. So I'm genuinely very happy that he's out for the year. Does that mean I think the team's going to get any better? No, not really. I mean, we don't know. They were good last year with Gardner Minshew as a quarterback. Not Gardner Minshew, with Flacco as quarterback. But Flacco is a great quarterback anyway. So I don't really know how the team's going to be. But I don't necessarily think that the team's necessarily going to be still any good. Meanwhile, the Ravens, best team in the NFL by far right now. They've just been on such a hot streak. They whooped the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So, yeah, this is a pretty easy one. I do think that the Ravens are going to take over the Browns. Tennessee at Detroit. We don't really got to spend a lot of time in this one. Tennessee is not a good football team. Will Levis, not a good quarterback. I don't even think they're going to start Will Levis this week, but just not a good team. Tony Pollard's the only solid part of that team. Detroit, earlier in the season, I definitely said that they were a team that I just kind of fell off, but that was after week 2. And after that, they've just been absolutely phenomenal. Beat the Vikings. Hands down, one of the best teams of the NFL right now. 100% think the Lions are going to absolutely demolish the Tennessee Titans. It's not even a close game. Colts versus the Texans for the second time this year. The Colts lost that first game, but Anthony Richardson definitely played his best game of his season so far. C.J. Stroud hasn't been a great quarterback so far, which has been really unfortunate, but he still leads his team to a pretty good year, except they did lose to the Green Bay Packers. Does that mean I think the Colts will win this one? No. The way the Colts have been playing have been solid enough, but it's just hasn't been great, and they haven't really played any good teams, so I think 100% that the Houston Texans are going to take the dub here. Really excited to see how this game is, though. I love divisional matchups. The Green Bay Packers and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville had a great week last week in London. The week before that, they had a horrible week. But, again, Jacksonville's just a team that I just don't feel has been very good. Trevor Lawrence has not been very good. Brian Thomas has been solid enough, but the running back game, besides Tank Bigsby, has been awful, which is to say that Travis Etienne, one of the best running backs of last year, has been awful this year. So I don't really have much faith in this team. Meanwhile, Green Bay has been having kind of a rough year so far. For me, I personally feel like, they just can't beat the big teams until last week where they did beat the Houston Texans. They are just on fire, and I think that from here on out, they're going to have as great of a year as they did last year, and I don't think that they're going to let the Jacksonville Jaguars stay in their way. Green Bay is going to win this one. The Arizona Cardinals versus the Miami Dolphins. Miami's got Tua back, which means they probably most likely have Tyreek back and Jalen Waddle back. Not that they were injured, but just because they sucked because they didn't have a single quarterback. So it's really hard to tell how Tua's going to be. I don't really know what his skill set is going to be for this game. So I'm pretty excited to see this one. Still not starting Tyreek in fantasy. I'm still going to let him ride the bench one more week. But the Arizona Cardinals, also not the greatest team at all. I mean, they've got some pretty big wins, but they also have plenty of flaws in their team. They did win last week against the Chargers, but they are just able to adapt when they want to win and able to adapt to be the good team. So I honestly kind of think that the Arizona Cardinals are going to continue their win streak for 2 weeks, and I'm going to say that they're going to beat the Miami Dolphins. The New York Jets and the New England Patriots. At the very least, we are not getting another Jets primetime game this week. Don't worry. We got another one next week with Thursday Night Football, but anyways, I just am so tired of watching the Jets. I just think that they suck. Honestly, they really suck. Nothing that they're doing this season is going to fix that, so I mean, at the very least, they're going to beat the New England Patriots. Drake May hasn't looked terrible, but you can't really rely your whole team on a quarterback when your O-line sucks, your D-line sucks, your entire defense sucks, your wide receiver core sucks. Everything about your team sucks. So, I do still think the Jets are finally going to get a much-needed win here. I don't think that it's going to turn their season around. I don't think their season's going to be turned around at all. But against the New England Patriots team that Drake May and sometimes Ramondre Stevenson is the only solid part of your team, I 100% think that the New York Jets are going to win. Now we get a rematch between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Atlanta Falcons. Their last match made for a very entertaining Thursday night football game. So I definitely do think that this is going to be a great game with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin both out. Tampa is definitely going to have to prove that they can run the ball and use that ability more, or prove that the wide receivers that don't really get much time because Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are on the team need to step up. But I don't necessarily think that they're going to have a great season until week 11, until Mike Evans comes back. I mean, Godwin's out for the year. Just a whole bunch of bad luck that happened last week. So definitely think that the Atlanta Falcons are going to win. They didn't have a great week last week. Not at all. But I do think that they are going to win against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 2-0, especially after Tampa loses all of that. I think it'll be a comeback week after the last week loss. The Saints and the Chargers. The Saints are a football team that had a great first 2 weeks. I thought they were going to be good this year and then completely fell off. So I don't really think that they're going to snap it all back against the Chargers, even though the Chargers are also a team that started off pretty good and then I feel also kind of fell off. So I definitely think the Chargers are a better team. I definitely think that the Chargers are going to get a much-needed win here. But these are just both teams that I don't think are really going to do anything with their season this year because, like, the Justin Herbert's team doesn't really have offense. They have Justin Herbert. That's it. The Saints team has a stacked team. I mean, they got Derek Carr. They have Alvin Kamara, Chris Olave. That's a phenomenal team, and yet they just can't hold it together. Actually, never mind. Derek Carr is injured. I forgot. So Spencer Rattler, and he had a terrible week against the Denver Broncos last week. So definitely going to say the Chargers are going to win this game. The Buffalo Bills and the Seattle Seahawks. This should be a very, very, very interesting game because the Buffalo Bills are a team that I feel are very hit or miss this year. Yeah, Josh Allen is great. He hasn't thrown an interception, but he also had some rough days. Seattle Seahawks started off great. Then they went on a losing streak and finally snapped back last week against the Atlanta Falcons. So it's very hard to tell how this game is going to do for each team. I'm definitely going to pick the Buffalo Bills in this one, though. I mean, they're easily the safe pick. Buffalo has had more great games, and they are very hot right now. So I do, unfortunately, think that they are going to beat the Seattle Seahawks, and I really hope they do because I'm in a tough fantasy matchup, and I need Josh Allen to go off. But definitely going to take Bills in this one. The Carolina Panthers and the Denver Broncos. Denver had a great week last week only because they were playing a bad team. Their defense went off. Bo Nix has underthrown and overthrown a receiver at the exact same time, which is absolutely bizarre, but you don't really know how the Broncos are going to be. They can be really hit or miss, but it's definitely going to be a hit this week against the Panthers. Got killed against the Commanders, lost a lot of games. Andy Dalton sucked. Bryce Young is officially back, and I don't think Bryce Young's going to be doing anything this week. So, easy pick, going Denver Broncos in this one. Then we got the Raiders and the Chiefs. Chiefs 6-0. Now they're going to be 7-0. There's no way we're losing against the Raiders. They've sucked so far this year. They got a lucky win against Baltimore, and that's it. So, I mean, don't really have to spend much time on this game. Even though Patrick Mahomes really hasn't had a great year, and I kind of wish he wasn't front runner for MVP. And this is coming from a Chiefs fan. So, as a Chiefs fan, I kind of wish he's not going to win MVP because he is having a terrible year. But stats don't matter when our defense is great and our offense is still finding ways to win games. I'm thinking that the Chiefs are going to be 7-0 this week. The Bears and the Commanders. This is going to be a very interesting game. The Bears, Caleb Williams has been hot so far. He had a bye week last week, but he's been hot the last couple of weeks. So you don't really know how he's going to be. The Commanders, starting Marcus Mariota, who I still think is a very solid second backup quarterback. But Jaden Daniels is out. So again, this is a team that you don't know how it's going to be. So the Bears, very inconsistent team who has won against games against not good teams. Commanders, very good team this year, but they don't have their quarterback. It's hard to choose who's going to win this game. And I think I'm going to go with the Chicago Bears to win this one. I mean, it's definitely not the safe pick. This is going to be very shocking I'm very excited to see how this game is going to go, but I am going to choose the Bears to win just because it's like that's just a team who's got their starting quarterback and who is more stacked and has not been dealt the worst hand this week. And it's just a team that I feel can get the dub here against the Commanders. Dallas and San Francisco, these are two teams that have just been regarded as some of the best in the past, and this year just not having the best of luck. Dallas obviously probably going to turn the season around and then eventually lose in the wild card round like they always do. San Francisco, yeah, they lost against Kansas City and a couple other teams that they should have beaten. But definitely they're going to beat the Cowboys here. The Cowboys, when they face any team that's halfway qualified so far this year, have been whooped. And while I do think eventually they'll turn their season around, I still don't think this week will be the week. Do you think San Francisco is going to kind of walk all over Dallas, especially because it proves that when you get paid, you suck. Look at Trevor Lawrence, look at Deshaun Watson, and now look at Dak Prescott. Except the fact is that Dak Prescott has always sucked. So I'm going to go with the 49ers to win this one. And our Monday Night Football game, the New York Giants and the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm going to say that the New York Giants are a hit-or-miss team. Sometimes I think that they can win games. Sometimes they disappoint me. Malik Neighbors is back. Daniel Jones still, unfortunately, the quarterback for this team. So, really not expecting much to go there. But the Steelers last week kind of proved that Russell Wilson is a solid quarterback. Justin Fields is still a solid quarterback. They have a solid team this year, and I definitely do think that they're going to be maybe halfway contenders. I kind of think that they can be contenders, and I definitely don't think that they're going to lose a game like this against the New York Giants. I'm choosing the Pittsburgh Steelers to win. Alrighty, that was my Week 8 predictions. Again, let me know down below what is your predictions for the NFL Week 8. I want to know all that and more, and while you're down there, please make sure to subscribe, like button, and hit the bell so you never miss another video. With that said, thank you guys for clicking on this Week 8 predictions. Subscribe, go on the Chiefs Nation. Peace out.